Talking today about an addiction to emotions. So we all know about addictions to cigarettes, alcohol, shopping, whatever it is, but do we talk enough about being addicted to emotions? So I want to ask you this question to consider. If you think about what is going on for you in your life right now that is causing you an emotional reaction, first of all, what is the emotional reaction? What is the emotion that is coming up for you at the moment? Let's take a moment to think about it. So it might be anger, it might be fear, it might be grief. Think about that emotion. And then if you go back in your life and you think about other really intense emotional experiences, what is the number one emotion that has come up within those circumstances? And often what you'll find is that it's the same emotion. So what I want to put forward to you, and it's something that I have never actually heard before until I received this last night, is that what if you are actually drawing to you circumstances that feed that emotional response. So what if your brain is wired and you're addicted to feeling, let's say for example, you're addicted to feeling anger. So what if your addiction to feeling anger is actually causing you to draw circumstances to you where you can feel anger? Now this all gets a little bit confusing, and does it really matter? Does it really matter? Well, what I am understanding for myself is that even when we take away the thing that makes us angry or sad or grief or fearful, and we're still left with that emotion, if we haven't actually cleared the emotion, so the situation's changed, and then the emotion still is there, what happens then? Do we then create, in this holographic universe that we live in, do we then quantumly draw to us another situation where we can feed this emotion, where we can feed this addictive tendency to actually wanting to have this negative emotion? Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, why on earth would I want to feed a negative emotion? Aren't we supposed to all be about positivity? When you feel a feeling that's intense, like fear, anger, and grief, there is neural pathways that fire in your brain, and there's actually an addictive part of us that actually loves that feeling. So when we speak about pity parties or the feeling of a rageaholic, someone who actually enjoys being angry, they're actually addicted to that anger. And I would say there's also fearaholics, and there's also griefaholics. There's also people who are so addicted to those feelings and that they're actually then, this is really getting quite tricky, because people are going to say, why, how can you say that? How can you say that you would then draw something to you that would create the emotion? Isn't it the other way around? Don't we have a circumstance and our pattern or our most familiar feeling is the one that we just go to? Well, I want to say that let's have a look at it from a different perspective, shift the paradigm on its head. How can we actually address that core underlying emotion? How can we allow that core underlying emotion to be loved enough, because it's our addictive tendency towards feeling that emotion? How can we love that addiction enough to let it go? Now, when I was in my 20s, I used to smoke. And I hated the fact that I used to smoke. It was when I was drinking. So when I was out partying as a teenager and in my 20s. And I never smoked through the day or anything. It was just, in the weekends. But I still hated it. And I judged myself for it. And hated the fact that I smoked, and read lots of books on how to give up smoking. But, I'd have a few drinks and then I'd be like, oh, pass me one of your cigarettes. I'll just have a puff. It wasn't until I came across the book by Alan Carr, The Easy Way to Give Up Smoking, that I came across this concept of loving the addiction. And so his concept is that you smoke the cigarettes while you're reading the book. You understand why you're addicted, all of that. And you say to yourself, as you're smoking, you say, I love this cigarette. Oh, I'm feeling such a great cigarette. I love it, I love it, I love it, rather than judging it. So what I'm saying is, what if we did the same with our negative emotions. So rather than saying, I shouldn't feel fear, I shouldn't feel sadness, it's terrible that I feel this anger or this grief, what if we actually said to ourselves, I love that I feel self-pity. I love that I feel rage. I love that I feel this grief. I love not only the emotion, but I also love the circumstances that are bringing me this emotion. Without these circumstances, I would never be able to feel this emotion. I am so grateful and I so love the circumstances that are bringing me this emotion. They are feeding this addiction. It's big stuff, right? I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling it too. So last night I did some tapping, and the way that I tap is intuitive. So I tapped into that whole feeling of, I love this feeling, and you can do this yourself. You can just tap on whatever feeling is most common to you. What is your go-to negative emotional state? Where is the one that you dine out? Where is the one that you spend the most time hanging out with? Which emotion is it? And you can really allow yourself to actually say to that emotion, let's take, for example, fear. I love you, fear. I am so grateful that you're in my life. I love having you in my life. I love the fact that you cause me heaps of anxiety. And then maybe you speak to this situation. I love the fact that I have whatever it is, something that's creating all of this fear in my life. I love the fact that you're allowing me to experience this emotion that I'm addicted to. Now I'm going to post some more particular videos about the tapping rounds and all of that. But for now, what I really want to bring your energy, attention, and awareness to is addictive cycles with emotions. What is your most addictive emotion? What is the one that you most love hanging out with? Is it possible that you actually create circumstances within your life to feed this emotional state so that you can experience it more? And is it possible that if you loved the emotion rather than judged it or told it was bad or tried to do positive affirmations, if you loved it enough, is it possible that it could actually just go? And then you wouldn't have to create the circumstances that would then create the emotion. It's exciting stuff. I would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on this. If you would like to join up to my free sensitive soulpreneurs support group and circle on Facebook, the link will be underneath this, or you can have a look on Jilly Godward with a G, Godward, GODWARD.com for more resources and tools.